Good evening, welcome back, RC enthusiasts. Thank you for joining me. All right, so today we got some Senton 3S maintenance. So upon my last bashing session or racetrack session, I busted a couple pieces on it, taking really long jumps, high jumps, and the chassis was slapping down on the floor, and I busted the rear suspension arm. So I'll show you here and also in the photo. You can see it is detached, and so got to get that fixed. So I got some new ones. I got some RPM suspension arms, front and rear. Those will be a lot more durable. I also got wheel axles. And so like some of the pins, I was noticing the wheel became wobbly a little bit. And so definitely going to want to be switching those out too. So that'll be today's video. We're going to be going through the repairs and remodel of the Senton. That way we can get it back out there on the track and get some ripping and running in. Stay tuned. All right, so first things first, we're going to start with the rear of the chassis. Allow me to put on my headlight. So when things get a little complicated, I got some light to work with. Et voila, way better. So we're gonna have to move the rear assembly, right? The bumper. So we took the bottom plate off, now we're gonna work the bumper. All right, bumper off. Next up, so we need a pin, a sharp one, to be able to get this pin out here. I don't know how this guy's going to be taken out. We'll see if the 1.5 fits to drive the Neo. Yes, awesome. So I'm gonna undo this hinge pin brace. Like I was saying before, we're trying to remove this hinge pin right here, and you're gonna need a little bit of muscle behind it because it is lodged in there pretty tightly, and it's not just going to slip out just because you pull on it. You're going to have to exercise a little bit of force. So I got some vice grips, and I'm going to clamp hold on that edge. And give it a yank right out. So that definitely helps to get a nice vice grip to get that pin out. And our A-arm is free. And so this is the rear one. This is the one that broke. And as we can see, right there is where it popped. So, yeah. All right, so what we'll do with our new rear A-arms by RPM, we want to make sure to save this portion here because this is your proof of purchase. RPM offers a lifetime warranty, so if you do have issues with the A-arms, they'll happily replace them provided you have your POP, your proof of purchase. So let's get into here, and we'll talk briefly about these A-arms. So they do come with instructions on how to install. Comes with a pan head screw and so forth. So we'll remove that left side wheel. This is how they will go. And this is the rear A-arm. So what you'll notice difference about the A-arms is that in particular that they're a bit narrower, you know, not as much going on. If you look at what's going on top, a bit narrower, and they've got two places where you can set your shocks at the normal length and a little bit wider, which lessens the leverage that you have on the shock, dropping your car down a little bit lower. And so that's the cool part about it. And so let's get that installed. So once again, we're going to go right back in because everything should be in the same. All we're going to do is insert our pin. Right back through there. Insert our second pin, so right back through here. And let's just drive that in there just to make sure it's in all the way. Great. So we have these screws, these Phillips head screws that go on the end here to lock in place. So I went ahead and got my screwdriver, my electric. Makes things just a lot easier. So we'll screw that in, lock that in good and tight. And voila. We have our new rear suspension arm inserted. And then I'll follow that up with shocks and so forth. But that's basically it, right? Nothing to it but to do it a little bit challenging as far as pulling out the pins, but other than that, pretty easy. And then we'll get this guy sealed back up with the skid plate and the bumper. Do the opposite side, and then I'll be back to show you guys the front end. Remember with your A-arm when setting it up for installation that these two screw holes where you're going to be placing your shocks, especially on the rear, they should be facing you, facing the rear. You don't want the holes facing forward, which would mean that you put your shocks in the wrong way. So you want them facing the opposite way, facing you. Got 4 screws and a skid plate. So you're going to see these little latches here, right? These two here, they get locked into here first in these 2 positions. So what we want to do is throws down in first, and then lay it down. So this is where we're going to be throwing our last 2 screws in before we call it complete. Yeah, voila, we got new suspension arms on. All right, so next up we have our front A arms to install. Once again, remember to save this as part of your packaging. So the difference here between the front and rear is going to be the removal of this camber link here, right? This link rod up top, which will enable us to then have a little more free movement of the arm. Once again, everything is the same. We want to get down into this pin here. Remove that. Slide the pin out. We want to remove the front housing, the skid plate, the bumper. And so, let's get to it. And we want to get right into these 2 screws here. All right, so once again, we got to flip this back over. Use our stand again. And here we want to remove the front hinge mount. Out with a vise, or you pop it through. You just use the 1.5 millimeter hex, and that fits right in, and you can remove it that way. Oof, that was a bit of a headache. Like I said, these joints are gonna, take a little bit of effort and oomph to get them removed, but once they're out, they're out. Make sure that's pushed all the way in. Once again, I can't stress this enough. Make sure the holes are facing outward. So just looking at the left side, the opposite side, we didn't want to match it up with the same way this hole is facing, so these holes are facing forward as well. All right, left side done. We're going to move to that right A arm. So it's a shame that these, not this is a shame, right? I did want to switch them out eventually, but the fact that the rear one broke, because I only had the Senton less than 2 months, but I do race it pretty hard and I jump. I do some serious jumps on the track, and we have a very unleveled track, and pretty hilly and bumpy, and it just puts a lot of stress on the cars. So it's to be expected. All right, so we're coming in here on the right hand side. So we got it out finally. Whoa, that was a tough one. That was a doozy. But it's done. Now we've got to get the new one on. And now we start the process of rebuilding. So we're gonna, once again, we're gonna get our hinge mount back on. Get the bumper back on. And I would say that we've arrived to the end of the how to install Senton 3S front and rear A-arms. If you made it this far in the video, I'd like to thank you guys very much. Sticking with me, sticking it out. Remember to smash that like button, smash the follow, helps with the algorithm. Subscribe, comment even. Let me know what you think, what's on your mind, what issues you guys are having, or just want to say what's up. Let me know where you're from. New York City in the building here. If you guys touch down in New York City, hit me up. We'll definitely get together. I'll round up the troops and we'll head up to Gun Hill Racetrack. It's in the Bronx. But we got a nice racetrack, off-road, large enough to hold 1/8 scale, 1/10 scale, 1/12, 1/14. But we do a lot of racing with 1/8 and 1/10, 6S, 4S, 3S, 2S, but a lot of 6S. Quite a few of the guys have armor vehicles. Truggies, right? Italians, and they've got the Techno Truggies. I've got the Senton 6S, so I'm able to keep up with them with that. They got Creightons and such like that. But a few of my other friends do have slashes and such, so I definitely bring out the Pro 4 SC10 and we run it on 2 cells. And I get to rip and roll against the slash, which I love doing. Everybody's always talking so highly about slash this and slash that. And when I make the slash eat my dust. Now I understand at a certain point, after you've got all your electronics and your gears up to par, the rest is up to the driver. So possibly my friend isn't as good a driver, but I'm still relishing and loving the fact that I'm tearing up his slash, you know. So any of you guys have a slash 4x4, bring it out, bring it out. I'd love to go against you guys. No holds barred. Once again, thanks again for joining me, hanging in there, sticking by. Remember, bash hard, bash often, and most importantly, bash safely. Until next time.